I am, good morning, everyone. I am Tony Maxey. I'm with the Virginia Poverty Law Center. And one of the best parts of my job is working with two wonderful board members, Wanda and Deborah. I'm going to stop for just a minute, shut my door, because my other wonderful helper this morning is seeing somebody walk down the street. If you're in the Whova app, I encourage you to go to the pet photos in the community and look for Franklin, who is constantly destroying these evil stuffed animals in my house, trying to save me from the danger of the fluff. But it is my very sincere honor this morning to introduce Deborah Grant. And let's see. My screen, there we go. Deborah Grant, a Virginia Poverty Law Center board member, and Wanda Wynn, also a Virginia Poverty Law Center board member. And we are in the being a legal aid community board member in 2021. If this is not the session that you meant to be in, check your agenda. But seriously, please do stay, because I love listening to these two women share. And so without anything else to say, Deborah and Wanda, I'm going to kind of leave it to you guys to take this over.
Okay.
And make an introduction of yourself, Wanda.
Okay, Wanda, I'll let you go first. This is Deborah.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here this morning. My name is Wanda Wynn. I've been a board member now for over 2 years. I'm married to my wonderful husband, Jermaine. We both share 6 children together, 4 are mine, by myself, of course. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and business management administration. I currently work for Virginia Department of Transportation, and I contract part-time with Homeland Security. I'm also a board member for EVMS for COVID-19. I serve as the as the treasurer for VPLC. Also, I am on the outreach committee for VPLC as well.
Okay, good morning. We're glad to have you, Wanda. I'm Deborah Grant, and I have been a board member of VPLC for over 20 years, a long time, yes. And I'm also the now president of Legal Services Corporation of Virginia. I'm honored to be here with Wanda to present this presentation on about legal aid board members. And I'm also a community board member in my community, which I lived in Virginia Beach, but I'm all over the Hampton Roads area. I have 3 children plus 9 grandchildren. It's a long story with that, but wonderful grandchildren. And I'm just happy to be able to give my advice or the things that I have learned in the community as part of legal aid. Hopefully you will be able to get some ideas and some interest in becoming a legal aid board member in your community. It's a great thing to do in working with the attorneys and the I call them the professionals, which we all are, and getting to know one another and being able to get out in the community and letting people know more about legal aid. Thank you again for listening, to what we have to say. with our opening question. Wanda, do you want to start or do you want me to go ahead on it? Continue.
It doesn't matter. The questions, I believe Miss Maxie is going to take those answers to those
Yeah.
questions.
So
Well,
we're a very small group this morning. I think maybe, there's, I don't know, 12, 13 of us. The Zoom chat has been disabled, but I thought maybe if we just all could kind of use our reaction tabs. Is there anyone on here at the moment? And Monica, if you could pay attention, is anybody on here a legal aid board member at the moment? I personally cannot see the responses. You
I mean,
can
I wonder
can-
if it might be better to use the Whova chat, or is that?
sure, you can Whova chat. And this is a very informal session, so you can even unmute yourself if you wish. Like I said, we're a very small group this morning, and we want this to be more of an interactive experience versus, as Deborah and Wanda said, they didn't want to just be sitting here talking the whole time. They wanted to have a conversation about how best to help people become the best they can be.
Yeah, Tony, will you just repeat the question one more time, and then we can just let folks know to go ahead
Sure.
and enter that into the Whova chat.
So the question at the moment is anyone within this session a legal aid board member? And if you are, how long have you been a member?
So if you all can enter your answers into the chat, we can read them out loud, just in case, if for whatever reason, mute functions are not working for you all.
And if so, how would you describe your experience as a board member?
Yeah, it may very well be. And, Monica, if you wouldn't mind just continuing to monitor the chat, but it very well may be, Deborah and Wanda, that we don't have community members or legal aid board members in here. And I think that brings up a really great point that, or at least a thought for me, that for the community members who may serve on a legal aid board, that there's differing access to technology, for example, to actually be able to join a virtual conference. And so I would be very interested to see what you guys might have to say about how we as a community, if we continue to have a virtual conference, I hope we don't. I so miss hugs and seeing people in person, but how we can, for these virtual meetings, ensure that our community members have access to be able to show up. I'm curious to know from you guys. Who would
Tony,
like to take that?
we do also have a person who just chimed in on the chat from Jan. Jan says, I'm the treasurer of LASRV since 2014, but it's a non-voting staff position. I am also VP/grants chair of a community organization.
Gotcha. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Yes.
So which one of you guys want to take that question?
Well,
how can we ensure people have access to the technology so they can fully participate?
Well, I think this is Deborah. I think as having a computer or going to the library if you don't have a computer or at home to be able to access being able to get online. Because that's one of the things. And we know in some of the rural areas, it's kind of hard for people to have a Wi-Fi. But, some people use their cell phones and we just have to be creative. Before we had the Wi-Fi and the computer, we used to, meet in person, if we could, or either we talk on the telephone. Um, so, that was one of the ones, and we got to know, people a little bit more better. And then we also wrote to people, asking, questions on what are their interests, how did they, come to find out about, legal aid, how did they come to use, legal aid? Was it because of something that they needed to have help on, or, whatever? So I'm going to let Awanda, chime in too, so that, she can get, by her being a new, um, one of our new board members, she's been on for about 2 years. So, Wanda,
Well, you made some great points, Deborah. I don't really have too much to add to that. Um, but I can add that when you spoke about the telephone, even with Zoom, being that we're not able to meet in person, through Zoom, you can also dial in. So that is a great resource that we have. And in some communities, a lot of people network together. So it doesn't have to be one person. I mean, all it takes is just one person with a resource as far as a computer or tablet, iPad. Um, and it could be a date set up convenient for everyone, such as we had these dates set up for this conference, and everyone could meet in to be able to chime in and get the information needed.
yeah,
So that was some good points. I didn't have much of that. You took a lot of it.
that's okay. Well, we do that from time to time.
Oh, no, you did good.
Tony, I see another question or another information up here. It says, here are my favorite characteristics of outstanding members. Well, I think that's kind of me. Some of those are me. Pat, you have to have a passion, for your cause, whether, it's, something that's dealing with your child in the school system, or housing, or, maybe, healthcare or something like that. All of those that legal aid and VPLC does. An eagerness to participate at every meeting. You sometimes you want to participate in every meeting, but you don't know, what to say. But it's always good to be there to listen, so that you can, know you can chime in and have your opinion. Your opinion counts as much too. A willingness to prepare, ahead for the meetings. Sometimes that's possible and sometimes it's not. But being there, that is one of the greatest things too, to listen, so that you can know, what you're talking about, or how you can be able to help, or how, legal aid would be able to help you. And I'm going to give the fourth one, and anxious to serve on committees. You want to serve on, all committees, but you can't. You just have to, pick and choose which one, is going to benefit you, or it's going to benefit, be able to help the community. And I mean, all of them, all of the committees are important, but you just have to pick and choose on which one that you want to be on, because you don't want to burn yourself out. Now, Wanda, I'm gonna let you, finish the bottom four.
Okay. And if you want to go through all the rest of them, and I can chime off a little bit, but that's fine. Ability and propensity to give above average financially. The one thing I do love about VPLC, there's no pressure to give certain amounts, or to or certain pledges or anything like that. It's basically what you can afford, what you can do. And that chimes back with the passion for the cause for me, because having an understanding of the organization and what it is that they do, is it's amazing that there are attorneys out here that's able to help those who are less fortunate with a lot of things. And just to give a little or give a lot, depending on, your financial status, that makes a big difference. And it makes me more eager to donate more when I can. Strong desire for stewardship to others. Being part of these committees, I love being part of them. The outreach committee is amazing. My liaison, Tony and Jay have been very resourceful with sending me all types of information to share in my community, to share at work. So I'm getting information out to a lot of people who don't even realize that VPLC exists. They've seen a sign. Oh, I've seen that logo before, but I never, really looked to see what that was about, or, never looked into it. Also, those who don't even know that they qualify, just by, getting your information to the secretary to see if you qualify for services. So there have been individuals who have met who felt like, oh, I don't think I would qualify. Well, you never know. It's okay to get a no, but don't allow yourself to lose out on something and you're not aware if you approved or not. Supportive but willing to express their own opinion. Great. I love the fact that VPLC does suspend judgment. I'm sorry, can't even get my words right. So, I'm open to my opinion, to share if I have an issue, or if I don't understand something, I'm able to ask questions to anyone within the board and get a better response. Because of course I am not an attorney. So a lot of the terminology, sometimes it is a little difficult, and I do question, like, okay, I'm not sure what that means. And I can see myself sending a chat during the board meeting to anyone personally, and I would get a very good response to a breakdown as to why this is and the reason for that. Striving to learn as much as possible. That is pretty much the main. My main objective is to try to learn as much as possible. Being that I am a more new member, there are a lot of things that have been going on that I like I said, I don't have no clue of what that means or how to present that if I was to be in a meeting and they say, well, here, one, I need you to explain this, explain that. I'm like, no, I don't think I can do that without the support. So I do strive to ask questions with Tony and Jay and the other board members, Miss Deborah, to see, if they can help me along the way with a lot of things. That's what
I think that's great because that's the way I began and, being a board member. It was self-interest, but also, learning to talk to. I would be on the phone calling Jay in a heartbeat if something was going on with myself or, somebody in the community that I didn't understand. And they would always point us in the direction, that we should go. And we understand more about the acronyms that are going on now. Like when I talk to somebody and tell them about, I'm on the board of VPLC, well, what's that? Then I have to break it down to a Virginia Poverty Law Center. And I have to understand where they're coming from so that I can explain to them so that they'll have a better understanding and want to be, a board member of legal aid.
Correct. And then being more knowledgeable also, it increases the eagerness to participate.
Yeah.
That's with I would say that would be with anything. Like even a new job, you don't understand how to do the job, but once you learn the job and you see the purpose for the job and how it makes people feel when you're doing a great job, and it does definitely is a great thing. And being prepared too. I want to speak on being prepared because like I say, Tony, she provides great information, sometimes a week or two ahead of time. So I'm able to look at some of the things to ask questions later on to figure out, how does this apply to me? And if I need to share this information, how I will be able to share this and deliver it to others.
That's so true.
And Deborah, we have a couple questions, I think, relative to the slide, if you all don't mind me asking. So the first one is from Jay. Has your experience as a board member changed over time? In other words, is the board experience different now as compared to several years ago?
Yes, in a way it has. And when I say that it has grown more, we have not only, we have more interest in, what's going on in the community. As, when I came in, I was talking about housing, how we participate. I mean, how I can, get a better understanding, what I can tell the community on housing. But now I understand, where we're going at and how we can, when we go to the general, we can go to the General Assembly and we could talk to our legislators and, have a better understanding of, what a vote means, how they do certain things and, how certain things are being done. And also when I became a board member, the payday loans were coming up. And I just know about payday loans, but now I have a better understanding of not just payday loans, but, car title loans and when I have a better understanding of it, I can be able to give that to my community and be able to work. We can all get in there and we can work together and be able to ask, intelligent questions or be able to give an intelligent answer without, you know, um, not knowing. So, Jay, you're my champion because I've been on the board with, I think, at least three executive directors, and you're just my go-to guy when I need anything that's going on. And I want to thank you and all of the board, all of the staff, for everything that y'all do and helping us to be able to get things out in the community. I know I went all the way around, but that's because I've been on the board for over 20 years and I've learned a lot and I still have a lot more to go. So the next
Wanda, what about
question.
you? As the board member who's been here for 2 years and is now elected our treasurer. We just took that position and split it in two. So it is hard for us to remember that it's no longer the secretary treasurer position, but that it is just the treasurer, and Wanda is now the board's treasurer. So you've been on for 2 years. So I'm curious for Jay's question, which is, how's the experience on the board changed for you in the last 2 years?
Well, I am presenting, so that tells a lot. So it's changed a lot. I feel a lot more comfortable and definitely eager to be a part of VPLC. It is definitely an honor. I've met some great individuals. I've had issues myself where I was able to get help personally, and that was more passionate and heartfelt than anything, not just serving as a member, but to know that, one second. I'm sorry. But to know that when I needed help, that VPLC was also there for me. And
Yeah.
I wasn't too, I'm very sociable, very approachable, but I was not too comfortable going to different people explaining VPLC initially. But now I'm able to, I've helped so many people, you know, not legally because I'm not an attorney, but I was able to point them in the right direction to help them and show them things. And that made me feel good. So that's the big takeaway for me from start to finish, being shy, standoffish. And then during the meetings, speaking during the meetings and even our breakout sessions, I received some good feedback, which made me feel, you know, a lot more confident being almost an elders board member. Not quite there yet. 2 years is not enough.
You will.
Wanda and Deborah, we've got another question kind of on that note. What roadblocks do you see to non-lawyers participating in board meetings or committees, et cetera?
Well, one of the, because we are not, you know, attorneys and whatever, and, you know, some of us, we are just, you know, regular people. We have regular things going on. And one of the ones that I find in is transportation. And the other one is we do have a life. I mean, you know, we have family, we have children, we have, so we have to kind of prepare for when we, you know, do, you know, come to, you know, board meetings and, you know, and different things like that. And, you know, sometimes we don't understand on, you know, what we are talking about or what the board is talking about. So we kind of, you know, standoffish and we, you know, we just have to, you know, sit back and we learn. And it's not that we don't want to, it's sometimes we just, you know, we can't. Because I know in the beginning, when I became a board member, first came on the board, I used to bring my son with me um, to the board meetings, and no one, you know, shied away or whatever. In fact, they helped him to be able to understand, you know, what's going on in the community. And you know, if we need help in any kind of way or whatever, they would also, you know, point us to where we needed to go. But what I'm saying is that we need help. Sometimes we need help in getting to some kind of board meetings or whatever. And if we can't, then we, you know, it's kind of hard when we have families and we're just a regular person. And hopefully I kind of answered that question. And it's you know, I've been on the board, you know, for many a years, and we just find a way that we have to do what we have to do and get in there. And sometimes there are, you know, things that we can't do to get to where we have to go, but we make it happen.
Wanda, did you have anything to add?
Well, that was a great response, Ms. Deborah. I can say life, it doesn't, I can't say that just because I have a family that I'm not as busy as those who don't have a family or a job or anything, because everybody has their different tasks day to day, whether it be something as far as a disability or it could be anything. As far as attorneys, you have attorneys that some probably not even married with kids, but they still have so many workloads because of the fact that they are dealing with, you know, case by cases, different cases and situations. So that becomes their family, these cases. So it is a lot of different obstacles and roadblocks that could affect people in different ways. Like I say, I'm a mother of 4. All my kids do something except for my baby. She's 4, but she keeps me busy. My sons play football, they play basketball, they run track. ladies in the course. So I'm always busy, plus working 2 jobs, plus trying to maintain a household. So that's a lot, but it works out. It definitely works out. So I make
It
time for
does.
everybody.
Yeah.
Definitely, I try to fulfill all my obligations and stay committed.
And that's the
Right.
reason why I wanted to chime in too. That's the reason why we try to, formulate, a board that kind of can help us so that we can be able to help, the attorneys or wherever we can help each other that because we know attorneys have things and they have things that they have to do. They have families, as Wanda said, and we all just have to get in there and work together. We just have to be creative and doing what we do.
So we've got 2 other questions that I'd like to ask, and then you all can move on with your presentation because I know you want to get through that as well. So the first question from Christopher is, what does this role entail? And you've talked a little bit about it, of course, but
Yeah.
you may have more to add.
It just, to me, is about being passionate about the cause, which is to help those who are less fortunate and those who are less knowledgeable of what some of their rights are, or what they're obligated to. Just being consistent as a board member, being dedicated, being professional at all times, because I can't represent myself as a board member and then I'm going out here, doing things that does not represent for BPLC. Just remaining professional and being consistent and, being there for the organization.
That's so true. Being there for the organization, but also being there, for our community, and also our families too, because we have to work together so that we can be able to help more people, and also we can help us, and we don't burn ourselves out.
Great. And the next question we've got is, how do you feel about your organization asking all board members to financially contribute?
I think that is great because VPLC does a lot for everyone, not just the clients, but for the board members as well. So just giving a little, like I said, there's no obligation. There's no set max. Hey, you have to give $5,000, $10,000. No, if I decide I have $1 to spare, anything is better than nothing. So just the generosity, and there's always, even if I don't have much, but $20 to spare, I'm always going to receive something nice in return. Thank you for your donation. It was greatly appreciated. So no one knows no one's financial situation or what you're going through. So to even get that thank you letter for my little contribute, it means a lot. So I have no issue. And I think that's a great thing that everyone does contribute.
That's right, because nothing is too small. Anything, and once we contribute, that lets everyone else. We have a 100% board that lets the community, that lets the legislators and the other people know that we are working board and that we work together and we contribute. Whether it's $1 or whether it's 5,000, it really doesn't matter as long as we participate.
Okay.
Okay.
Passion for the cause. What is the program's vision and mission? I'm going to read the vision statement. Vision, equal opportunity and justice for all Virginians. VPLC's mission, the Virginia Poverty Law Center, VPLC, breaks down system barriers that keep low-income Virginians in the cycle of poverty through advocacy, education, and litigation. An overview. Since 1978, we have worked with legal aid programs, community organizations, and private attorneys throughout Virginia to provide assistance and training to attorneys, paralegals, clients, and other advocates. VPLC engages in litigation, education, and lobbying to obtain justice for all income Virginians.
Yes. Knowledge isn't everything. Many people believe it is some vast knowledge about the mission or the law or finances, fundraising that signify a strong potential board member. Don't get me wrong, all of that knowledge can be a huge access. However, they must be accomplished by the proper mindset. All board members should bring a passion for the mission of the organization. Yes, a passion. You have to have a passion for any cause that you are doing. And I mean, we don't know everything, but we know some things, and what we know and what somebody else knows, and put it together, we can work together. Whether it's, law, which I am not an attorney, as Wanda says, she isn't either, but we do learn from the attorneys, finances, working on, the budget, as we will come up on that, and of course fundraising. And we have some fun fundraising, some very creative on doing some things. Tony and some of the other staff, have done marvelous things. So like I say, don't get us wrong. It's a huge access and a passion, for the mission. We can't say that enough.
I would like to, this is Tony that they keep referencing, and I think for the people who are attending or perhaps watching this later, I'm Tony Maxey with the Virginia Poverty Law Center, and I'm the board liaison. So when they talk about materials and those kinds of things, it's me who is sending them the board packet, etc. Which it sounds to me like that's an important piece for you guys to receive about a week or so ahead of time, or at least before the meeting, so you have the opportunity to read it. So I did just kind of want to put who Tony is in context for not everyone who knows me. And but also I want to also mention here in this slide where it says knowledge isn't everything and that all board members should bring a passion for the mission. I wonder if Deborah and Wanda, the two of you guys couldn't take a moment here just to talk about how your passion for the mission, which is breaking down systemic barriers through one component, which is education, how you recently, as part of your membership on the Community Outreach Committee, planned and hosted a Know Your Rights event on housing in Newport News, and how your voices as community board members made that possible and helped VPLC understand that's where we needed to go.
Deborah may have a little bit more to add than I do on that, only because unfortunately, due to my job, I wasn't able to attend that. However, I do have a personal situation with VPLC as far as education. I have two children with disabilities. One of my sons, he's partially deaf, and I've been trying to get resources forever for him, and they kept giving him SOLs, SOS, I think it's SOS. And I kept, which is not monitored, and is just, it wasn't useful, it wasn't helpful. So he's been going all these years where he's in his class, he's wearing hearing aids, but he's not receiving any information. And I'm telling him, my son's grades are getting worse. We're doing tutoring, we're doing this. So I started off, and I went to legal aid myself, and I was approved to receive services. And my son was able to get a IEP. He's now he's in the 8th grade now. His grades have really increased, and that makes me so emotional. I'm so excited about that. I'm trying to get myself together. but he's doing wonderful in school. And I just give all thanks to VPLC because now they have a monitored service for him that gives me updates every couple weeks. I'm seeing where he's lacking. I'm seeing where his words, which I've always noticed, his pronunciations are different, and he's definitely excelling thanks to DPLC. Mr. Michael Schultz, he was one of the attorneys that helped me on that. And I'm just really grateful that I was able to be a client and get the help for my son that he definitely needed. So he was in the process of being retained. All of that has changed. All of that has changed. So that I'm definitely grateful. And there's one other name. It's on the tip of my tongue. I cannot think of her name. Saving my life, and it's killing me that I cannot remember her name. It's been so long. It's been about 4 years now since my son was approved for the IEP. And he goes to speech therapy and everything. It's wonderful. It is definitely wonderful. So I thank VPLC for that. That is definitely a barrier they're breaking in the school system with education.
That's so true. It's so true. And, I too, had a situation too with my son. He's 30 now. And, they didn't want to give him a diploma when he graduated from high school. They wanted to give him a certificate of achievement. And that wasn't good. It really hurt him. And when anything hurts him, it hurts his mom. He has a mama. So, we called legal aid, and I had a chance to meet with Emily Dreyfus with the Legal Justice Center, and she helped me to help him to educate the school system that it was wrong. Of course, it was wrong, but they didn't think it was wrong. To think it was wrong to give him a certificate of achievement. Well, and one of the teachers even told him that, he didn't need to go to college to go to technical school and whatever. So they really doubt his ability to achieve what he wanted to do. And I said, as a mama, I was not going to let that happen. And in the meantime, what it was, he did get his diploma. He graduated from high school. He went to college, and now he's doing very well. But that came from me, educating myself to know what I needed to do to help him, and going to legal aid and them working with us to help not only my child, but also help the community, help the schools. That's just one of the things that that legal aid and VPLC and legal services has done, in for me, but not only for me, but for the community. They also, do with healthcare. When we had the workshop over at Newport News, as Tony talked about earlier, it was because Newport News and Norfolk has the highest rate of evictions in the country. So, that doesn't sit well, with us. So what we did was we got together and they talked to one of the delegates, Sia Price, who was our keynote speaker at our conference, and put on the workshop. And many people came over and they were able to talk to attorneys about housing, about their situation, about being evicted, and how they can not let that happen. Because when that happens to an adult, wow, but when it happens to an adult with children, that's something different. So when we had the forum over in Newport News, it was awesome. And now we are doing planning 3 or 4 more forums in the near future. So those are educational points that we are trying to get the community.
Thank you guys so much for sharing. And these ladies are very humble. There was about 70 people at that forum, and everybody talked to an attorney. We probably had half of those people start their rental relief applications that day. And it was all because of Deborah and Wanda and their participation and motivating VPLC into coming to Newport News. We do have about 30 minutes left, and Deborah and Wanda, there's quite a few slides to go through, so I'm just gonna keep it moving until more questions come.
Okay, I did want to add, it was attorney Miss Cassie Powell. So Cassie Powell and Michael Schultz, they definitely helped me out and actually helped me to advocate for my son as well going forward. So just
Okay,
want to add.
board meetings. We're just going to go ahead on and read the slides because, as Tony said, we have 30 minutes and we want to be able to give you all of this good information that we have. Participating in, well, I can't read it because it has, participate, do not be intimidated. It is important for your perspective to be heard. Get to know your executive director, and we have some exceptional executive directors. One is Jay Spears. The other one with our legal services corp is Mark Brigley, and our deputy director is Carl Dawes. I just wanted to give a shout out to them. And don't be there just to be there. Just don't sit there, participate, give some information, or ask questions. And if only way that you'll get an answer is you got to ask a question. Now it's your turn, Wanda. I'm gonna
Is
put you
it
down
really?
here.
Well, I'm gonna let you break down the budget and finances, but I'm definitely gonna read the slides.
Yeah.
We have to make sure the legal aid is wisely using its resources. Ask questions so that you understand where the funding is coming from and where it is being spent. Donate to legal aid so they can tell funders they have 100% board giving. The amount you donate isn't important, which I stressed earlier is not important. And there's never no stress or pressure on the amount that you're able to donate. That is a great thing about BPLC. Help with fundraising. You can help without ever asking someone to make a donation. So that's also good because everyone doesn't have it to donate. They may be able to offer time. They may be able to offer a business card on their business cards at their business, or take flyers to work, or volunteer to help during a conference, or through the event that we had in Newport News. So it's not even just all about the funding, it's time as well. That's important.
Understand restricted and unrestricted funding for the legal aid program. Restricted. And here's an example. Here you have $20 that you can buy some shoes for your baby. That's restricted. And that means that it can only go for what it was designated for. Unrestricted means that you have $20 to help manage your finances. Now, you can buy the baby shoes, but you can also make sure that you take care of your finances. So that unrestricted, that means that legal aid is able to do a little bit more in helping out the community because the money is not designated for one purpose.
Well said.
Okay, here we go. Community client board members should support each other. As Me and Wanda, we are not the only ones. There are a lot of community client board members, and we are looking for more long-term board members, mentors, as myself and as Wanda as being a new member, but now she's going to be she's going to be a mentor. And would you be willing to serve on the legal services corp ideal community board member service? If so, if you email tony@vplc.org and myself, Deborah D.A. Grant family at yahoo.com. That means we're looking for new board members. We're looking for more community client board members.
I'm gonna say, I think there's a few community members in this session, Deborah and Wanda. And so the Legal Services Corporation of Virginia has this particular committee, the IDEA committee, has a subgroup called the Community Board Members, in which we are attempting to begin thinking through how we can better connect community members to board service within the legal aid community. And so we're seeking community voices. So if you are a community member here and you want to be of service, this is not a committee that meets a lot, maybe once every quarter, every 3-4 months.
Right.
Please feel free to send Deborah or myself an email. And I'm going to keep this moving.
Wanda? Okay.
Wanda, you're muted.
Wanda? Okay. Wanda, you're muted?
I apologize. I apologize. My son actually came in. I forgot school lets out early today. I'm sorry. How the Legal Aid Society of San Diego has a thriving client board member committee and how they sustain it. LSC's grantees are required to have 1/3 of their board members be composed of eligible client members, such as Deborah and myself. The Legal Aid Society of San Diego, LASSD, is innovative to the engagement of its client board members. About 15 years ago, the client board member decided they wanted their own meeting with a separate agenda. This was approved. LASSD's client committee meetings happens during the 3rd week of every month, a week before the full board meeting. However, we have not implemented that 100%, but what we have done, we have the different meetings. Well, technically we have, but we do have attorneys in some of our meetings, and the attorneys meet with the board members in small groups. Like I said, the outreach committee, financial budgeting, and then during the major board meeting, everybody share their information, whether it be one of the clients, like myself or Ms. Deborah, or one of the attorneys. Legal Aid Society of San Diego Client Board Member Committee. But perhaps the biggest impact of the client committee has been its effort on the laws of the program's board. The client committee makes a report at every board meeting, and its members have shown LASSD's attorneys how important their work is. The attorneys now have a real understanding of the trauma of poverty that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So with the information from their board meetings, like me and Miss Deborah and others sharing information during our little small meetings to voice our opinions and get, be heard of ways that things we think would help contribute to the meeting. We're able to bring that back to the board meetings for everyone.
So we have about 20 minutes, and I know Monica has some more questions in the Q&A, But I wanted just very quickly to thank you both for sharing your information and to let everybody know, obviously, this is the slide with your contact info. And we'll get it uploaded into the Hoover app. Wanda, I think it was something, and Deborah, you may have mentioned this too. And I think somebody may have me on echo, but I think it's very interesting what you guys said about the community board members or just board members in general and the financial giving component. Because a lot of boards do ask, 100% board giving. And you both were great in answering this by saying that at least at VPLC, I can't speak to other legal aid boards, that we have no giving amount, but that also that our board, and I think others should think through this, that we also consider our members' time spent, the talent that they provide, etc., that it's not just 100%, making a financial donation, because as Wanda, I think it was you that said, we don't know people's pocketbooks, right? And so we would, and example, we have a board member right now who has donated her birthday as a Facebook fundraiser
Yes.
and has raised some money, and that will be counted as her contribution this year, her board donation. So I encourage everyone to think outside of the box a little bit, that our board members have all different ways that they can give. It is 100% giving, but it doesn't necessarily always have to be a financial piece. Anyway, I think Wanda, you, Deborah, both touched on that, but I thought I would say that again, since there was a question about financial giving. I will be quiet now and see if Monica has any other questions she'd like to ask.
So,
This is,
before jumping into some questions, there are some just comments that I'll read out loud on the chat, just because I'm not sure you all can see them. So the first we've got, well, this is from Jay. He basically echoed your statement earlier about passion being far more important than knowledge. And also one question, I apologize for my dog barking in the background. One question is, how important is board member orientation when new board members come onto the board?
That's very
It's very-
important.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, you're fine.
okay, that's very important. Because you're on a board with all of these people and you don't know them and they don't know you, and you're sitting up here and you're just like, okay. But if you have somebody that can take you along the side like a little buddy or whatever, and can let you see what's going on, that's the buddy part. Now the orientation part is going over what is expected of you, what for your time, your talent, and your money. So or to let you know all about what the PLC is all about, but then also is to let VPLC know what you're all about. And I did need to make one correction. My phone number is incorrect at the end, so Tony, thank you. I'll I'll get the correction later. Okay, Wanda.
I just want to add, when I came aboard, I had a very good, warm welcome. Miss Tony, she was just she was the sweetest person I know. And she came and asked me to be a board member. And I agreed. I was like, well, Miss Tony, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be, I'm not educated enough to do that legal stuff. And she was like, well, I'm not a lawyer either. Don't worry about it. Just come in and feel comfortable and I got you. I'll lead you. You need anything, you ask me. And she just made me feel real welcome. So when we had our meeting in June, and then she welcomed me aboard, everybody was just so nice and so generous and just made me feel welcome. And it's been great ever since. It really has been. And I've taken on certain different titles. Like I said, initially I was a little standoffish and just listening, observing people and try to piece faces with names and everything. I enjoyed our in-person meetings. I really did. One day we'll get back to that maybe. We will. But it was definitely a good warm welcome. And everybody has been very supportive, especially Jay helping me. He even helped with the PowerPoint and everything. He was just awesome. Everybody has been very awesome. So it was great coming aboard.
I have one question here. So community board members, attorneys, one legal aid board. So you have these attorneys sitting around with their legal jargon, their pro ses and their, oh, I don't even know the other words. I'm not an attorney either, right? I'm very curious because I've heard a lot of community board members talk about how, they felt intimidated and they didn't want to speak up. And therefore they stopped coming to meetings because they didn't feel like they belonged. So I'd like you guys to just talk real quickly, we have about 10 minutes left, of how you guys deal with sitting next to these attorneys who may not remember to not speak so legally.
Well, I understand that is their job. That is their terminology. That's what they have. That's the terminology that they use, and that's their lingo that they're comfortable with when they get to speak in these terms. However, it's nothing wrong with asking questions. And that's the good part. If I didn't understand something, then I would ask a question, or what does that mean? Or what is that for? Or what is the purpose for this? It's one thing to just feel, and everyone has been very approachable. So anyone that I've ever asked anything or talked to, or even at the board meeting we had a couple of years ago my first board meeting when I met everybody and talked to everybody, everybody made me feel comfortable. And if I had any questions or anything, and to me, they weren't out to intimidate me at all. They've made it so, I could understand a lot better. So that was a good thing. I can't speak for everyone because everyone is different. Some people not too comfortable speaking up. A lot of people probably wouldn't feel comfortable facilitating a meeting like this, so it depends on the individual. So it's no pressure, none at all. No intimidation to me. I've just been here 2 years. I'm not a public speaker, but I'm comfortable enough to do this because my passion for the organization and some of the knowledge that I've learned from the attorneys.
That is so true, Wanda. I say the same thing. When I became a board member, I was scared to speak up, but they were also scared to speak up too, because they didn't know me and I didn't know them. But we got to, finding out what's going on, and we would realize what we were there for. And I was there to help them, and they were there to help me. And we all broke bread together, and we just, it's family now. We're just they're helping one another, helping the attorneys, so they'll make their life a little easier because they have a hard job to do, and they are there to help us so that we can get the information out to the community better. And that's it. Great question, Tony.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So Deborah and Wanda, I don't see any other questions. So I'll ask anybody listening in if they have one more. They can either unmute themselves or put them into the Q&A. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and start wrapping things up by thanking each of you for your time. Something we were talking about earlier, your time, your talent, your expertise. And I just want to reiterate to everybody who's listening that these are two women who, and I think they've kind of referenced it, they came in and they educated themselves and so that they could better advocate for their people, right? For their family members. And they didn't just stop there. They realized that they needed to then take what they had learned and begin to equip other people and educate other people within their community so that they could begin to empower the community and perhaps one day indeed eradicate these systemic barriers that keep people in a place of lower income issues, right?
Yeah.
It's just one little step at a time. And these two women here, I really, I think that those who are here today are very fortunate to have heard from Wanda and Deborah, because these are two women who are really out on the ground making a difference. And from a VPLC standpoint, I want to say that these are two women that we listen to when it comes time for voices to be heard at the table, because we want to hear from them what they're seeing, because they are the ones that are helping us understand where the greatest need is and that we can get the information to those. So Wanda and Deborah, you guys are fantastic board members. Thank you once again for taking your time to share and educate others. You guys are just the best. And somebody actually put in the comment that LSCV, I believe, has probably appointed the best president of the board that they will ever have. So I wanted to share that with you. Well, with no other questions, Deborah, you did say that your number was incorrect. Do you want to go ahead and say it now in case the people who listen to the recording can jot it down, and then those can also jot it?
Yes, the correct number is 757-309-1859. 757-309-1859.
Thank you, Deborah. And just one more call. If you guys know anybody who would like to sit on the community board member subcommittee,
Yes.
email Deborah, call Deborah, and we'll get you connected to that committee. Any parting words, Wanda and Deborah, before we say goodbye?
I just want to thank everybody for attending. I truly appreciate you all for being patient and choosing our session to join. I hope you received a lot of good information. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me or call me at any time. Thank you.
Kudos. I say the same thing. Thank you so much. I also thank you for all the ones who have attended the conference this year. Even though it was virtual, we're sending out hugs to you all and let you know maybe next year we will be in person. Tony, want to thank you so much. You know, you are my rock star. I tell you, when I first met you, you're my flower child. That's how long I've been there. That's you know. Well, thank you all so much, Jay and Dana, and I could go down the line, so I'm not going to do that. But I really appreciate y'all and want you to continue praying for us all, for the community and for BPOC, that we continue getting the work out and the information out. And also, Jill Hankins, we miss you. I want to let her know that.
I will. All right, well, I understand that there is a conference closing session that's going to begin at noon, so I'm going to let you guys have this 5 minutes before that begins to to have a little stretch or something. Wanda, Deborah, thank you again, and everyone have a good day.
Yes, thank you.